If I was at 15% body fat right now and I wanted to get to 10% in just 12 weeks for a photo shoot, here's exactly what I do step by step. Now, the first thing that I would do would be to transition from maintenance, where I normally sit when I'm not in a deficit or cutting. I normally don't track my calories and macros precisely. I generally just intuitively eat based off years of experience. But when I do go into a deficit for a photo shoot, I generally have to lock everything down and track meticulously, and that's exactly what I do. I start by downloading MyFitnessPal, and I start by inputting the food that I eat and drink, absolutely everything. No grey area, so I know exactly black and white what I'm eating. From there, what I'll do is I'll then spend a couple of days working out exactly what I'm eating to then understand where I need to go from there. Now, the next step would be to put myself into a deficit, and that's what I would do. I'd start with about a 500 calorie deficit off my maintenance. That would be a moderate deficit for me, not too aggressive. I always start with a moderate deficit, and then later on, if I need to go more aggressive and further into a deficit, that's what I do. That's the strategy I take. But to start off with, as I've been maintaining and I've been eating a high amount of calories, a lot of carbs, I would generally start off with a moderate deficit just to ease myself into it. My macros, I would start off with what I would normally eat when I'm in maintenance, and that would be about 30% protein. And I would keep that the same with my macros for cutting. My carbs would be about 40%. And when I'm in a cut, they will alternate. I will carb cycle from some high carb days and some low carb days and some refeed days, which I'll get into very shortly. But I'll start off with about 40% carbs on workout days, 30% carbs on non-workout days. And then I just have that alternating carb split. I find that when I'm working out, I just generally need more carbs. I need the fuel, particularly after being maintaining my weight. I've been working hard in the gym, building muscle, getting stronger. Those carbs have been playing a key role for me for many months, even a year if I've been maintaining for that long. Now, my fats, I do tend to not have them super high on a fat loss phase to get to 10%. I do keep my fats slightly on the lower side of about 20-25%. Some days, if I'm carb cycling and my carbs are quite high, I'll put my fats purposely even lower. And I'll have carbs around my workouts. I'll have fats mainly towards the afternoon and maybe a little bit in the evening, but generally my fat intake's on the low side, and I'm having more carbs and more protein. I find those two macros play a key role. So once my macros and my calories are optimized into MyFitnessPal, I'm now just meticulously tracking them every day. Now, what I would generally do is I would start by having pretty clean on the week, and then on the weekends I would generally have a cheat meal. I've done this since day one. Even right at the beginning of my prep, I'll have a cheat meal, burger and fries out with friends or with my partner. Maybe right until the end of the photo shoot, I'll keep it in and then maybe pull it a couple of weeks before the end of the photo shoot, but I'll see where I'm at. But I do try for my mindset and my focus, because if I cut that, I find I just generally get quite moody, tired, and just feel not focused enough if I'm cutting out all the foods that I like. I'll also have a small treat at the end of the day. I generally have some dark chocolate and some protein ice cream. I generally try to do, if it fits my macros strategy, where I'll eat pretty clean all week and then working, like I said, a cheeseburger or pizza at the end of the week on a Saturday night, and my little bit of dark chocolate and my protein ice cream, I'll work that into my macros. Now, during the day, I would always start by having my first meal about 2 hours after I get up. I don't eat it immediately. I tend to just keep fasting to give myself a few more hours so then I can shorten my window in the daytime. So I'm not eating over a huge window, I'm eating over a smaller window. So let's say if I'm eating 2,200 calories in a deficit, then I want to try and eat those over a smaller window, and that's what I do. So I'll have my breakfast maybe for about 9:30, and it'll be high protein, high carbs if it's before training, and if it's not training, I'll pull my carbs a bit slightly lower and I'll increase my fat but I'll make sure I have at least 400 to 500 calories, maybe 600 calories per meal. So I evenly split all my meals over a 4-meal split, sometimes 5, depending on my day. If I'm working out, so if I've got a long day, I might have an extra snack. So I'll have 4 meals plus a snack. So my meals are spread right throughout the day. And I just find that between my meals, I'm fasting. I'm trying not to eat anything. And I'd keep those the same every single day, no matter what I'm doing. As for travel, I would generally push all my travel back. Holidays, trips, birthdays, stuff like that. Big events with friends, big social events. I tend to just push all of those back. And I really focus on the prize and get into that photo shoot condition. Because I know that any slip-ups can be costly and it can hold me back, which I've learned in the past. So I just speak to friends, speak to family. I let them know that I'm just going to be super focused on my photo shoot. I'm working with this photographer and I just want to make it happen. I want to get in the best shape I've been in. So they generally support me. And as long as I communicate with them, they know exactly crystal clear where I'm at and where my head is at and where I'm going. And after 12 weeks, I can say to them, look, we can go out for dinner. We can do a festival. We can have some drinks. But during my 12 weeks, I'm not drinking alcohol. I don't drink beers. I don't drink wine. I just focus very diligently to get to that 10%. So what I do with my training, I generally keep my training a 4-day split, but I do start integrating more cardio. Whereas when I'm maintaining or bulking, my cardio is much less, probably about 60% less. But I do always keep my steps pretty high. But as for my cuts, getting to 10%, I do ramp up my cardio. I try to keep it very high, at least I'd say 50% of my total training output. Then on my non-gym days, I will just keep my steps high. I'll aim for about 15 or 20,000 steps a day. I do like to keep my steps pretty high. I'll get out walking. I'll do steps around the house. I'll do whatever it takes. So as I get further into my cut, I'm probably about 6 weeks in, I'm looking leaner. I'm checking my physique in the mirror, regular weighing of myself, and taking regular photos, videos to see how my shape's changing. It's very important that I do that because I don't want to just be looking on the scales. I want to have different ways to validate progress. 6 weeks in, I've lost about 4 kilos and I'm progressing nicely towards my goal. However, if I do start to stall after about 8 weeks, what I generally do is I have a few strategies around that. What I would then do is I go further into a deficit by 2 things. Either I lower my calories slightly, but that's always second. I'll try to increase my physical output first. So that's what I tend to do. I try to do a bit more cardio, push myself a bit harder, extra 5 minutes per workout. So that's 20 minutes extra cardio a week. That's what I tend to do. I'll do that for about a week. And if that works, then great. If that doesn't, then I will pull my calories a little bit lower. Generally pulling my carbs a touch low and my fat. I keep my protein intake the same. I will carb cycle a bit harder by throwing in carb refeeds. So I will do 3 days quite low carbs. On the 4th day, I will have a big carb refeed, plenty of sweet potato, very low fat. So I find that after the 4th day of refeeding, I'm feeling great. My weight always generally drops after a good refeed, and I'm just then back on track. The refeeds are now helping. I'm shredding the last bit of body fat, and I'm doing whatever it takes, throwing in different strategies, and I find that they are working. I'm feeling like I'm getting the results, and as long as I'm keeping my sleep in check, as long as I'm keeping my training in check, as long as I am focusing on my goal on the weekends and not overeating or drinking. I'm now about 2 weeks out of my shoot. I'm now very close to 10% body fat. The strategies that I've been working on have helped me lose fat, and I'm really focused. And the last 2 weeks is just basically just trying to drop the last bit of fat by throwing in an extra refeed or 2 and just trying to get myself in a really good headspace for my shoot. And again, it's been a good long 10 weeks. It's been hard, but I've been dedicated and I've conditioned my mind to really focus on the prize. If you're enjoying this type of content and you're serious about transforming, I put out videos every Monday. Be sure to follow this channel by subscribing so you don't miss a video. So there you have, if I was at 15% body fat and I wanted to get to 10% in just 12 weeks for a photo shoot, this is exactly what I do. No fluff. I've just given you all my top stuff, exactly what I do down to the letter, so you can do it too if that's where you want to go with your shape. Well, I wish you all the best of luck. I hope you found this video helpful. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, and I hope you have the best journey going forwards. Have a great day. Bye for now.